Is the tribal chief finally making his comeback to WWE? Triple H's latest announcement has the entire WWE Universe buzzing. In this breaking update, we dive into WWE CEO Triple H's massive announcement about Roman Reigns' highly anticipated return. After months of speculation, the future of the head of the table is becoming clear, and the stakes have never been higher. From shocking backstage reactions to what this means for the Bloodline saga and WWE's biggest storylines, but before we begin, please subscribe to the channel for more wrestling news. It began not with a pyro blast, not with a booming theme song, but with a ripple. A quiet, almost imperceptible shift in the air backstage at WWE headquarters. The kind of shift you only notice if you've lived through enough shocks, betrayals, and triumphs in the squared circle. And this morning, that shift turned into an earthquake. Because just moments ago, WWE CEO Triple H made a monumental announcement. One that could change the future of the company. One that could bring the entire WWE Universe to its feet, or to its knees. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the man who vanished after his collapse at WWE Backlash, may finally be coming home. Not in rumor. Not in speculation. But in a return that now carries the weight of legacy, vengeance, and unfinished war. For months, the silence surrounding Roman Reigns has been louder than any promo ever cut. After the terrifying medical emergency that took place backstage in May, fans were left shaken. Not just because Reigns was gone, but because no one dared to say why. No statement. No update. No clue. The bloodline was crumbling in his absence. Solo Sikoa rising. Jacob Fatu turning. Jey Uso walking away. And through it all, the man who built this dynasty, who carved his name into WWE history with bare fists and silent intimidation, remained hidden in the shadows. But now, with one breath, one sentence, Triple H has dragged the shadow into the spotlight. Roman Reigns is coming back, he said. And in those 5 words, the WWE Universe stopped breathing. Triple H didn't offer specifics. No date. No arena. No match. Just a promise, and a warning. That the return of Roman Reigns would not be ceremonial. It would be seismic. It would be personal. And it would be war. Everything changes when Roman returns, Triple H said, his voice tight, his expression unreadable. He's not just coming back to reclaim his place. He's coming back because it's his company. His bloodline. His story. And it's not over. Backstage, the reaction was instant. Superstars who once bowed to Reigns are now bracing for impact. Solo Sikoa reportedly stormed out of the locker room after hearing the news. Paul Heyman refused to comment, his silence saying more than any speech. Seth Rollins, who has carried Raw in Roman's absence, was seen pacing the hallways in quiet fury. But this isn't just about one man's return. This is about a reckoning. Roman Reigns left as a king with no challengers. He returns to a kingdom in flames. The bloodline is broken. The Usos are divided. New alliances have formed. Some in loyalty, some in defiance. And standing at the heart of it is the question that now consumes every WWE fan around the world: what version of Roman Reigns are we about to see? Is it the calm, calculating tribal chief who dominated for 3 years? Or has something darker awakened in his silence, something more dangerous than ever before? Because according to sources close to WWE Creative, this return has been planned with surgical precision. And it's not just about ratings. It's about legacy. There were whispers, long before this announcement, that Roman's exile wasn't just about health. That there were disagreements behind the scenes. Tensions. Secrets. That Triple H had been forced to choose between protecting Reigns and protecting the company. But if those whispers were true, they've now been buried beneath one reality: Roman is coming back. And not everyone wants that. Reports are emerging that some superstars, particularly those aligned with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, are furious. That they believe Roman's return will overshadow everything they've built in his absence. One backstage producer allegedly said, "We built a new era. Roman wants to come back and crush it. But we're not letting him walk in like nothing happened." Yet others see it differently. They see this return not as a threat, but as a resurrection. Because no matter what anyone says, no matter how many titles are claimed or how many storylines play out, there has been a void since Roman left. The kind of void only he can fill. He was more than a champion. He was an institution. A symbol. And now, as the WWE landscape prepares for the tremor of his return, one thing is clear: Roman Reigns doesn't just return. He rewrites the narrative. He reclaims the narrative. And this time, he's not alone. Sources have confirmed that Triple H has been in private talks with certain unnamed superstars, discussions rumored to involve a new alliance, a reshaped bloodline, or even the unveiling of a faction we've never seen before. Names like Zilla Fatu, Jacob Fatu, and even a returning Jimmy Uso have surfaced in hushed conversations backstage. But no one knows for sure. Because that's how Roman works. He doesn't announce plans. He unleashes them. One step at a time. One blow at a time. One empire at a time. But perhaps the most chilling revelation from Triple H's announcement wasn't Roman's return. It was the final sentence. The one that echoed across social media, into locker rooms, and into the hearts of fans everywhere: "This isn't a comeback. This is a final act." What did he mean? Is Roman returning to reclaim the throne, or to burn it down? Is this the beginning of the end for the tribal chief, or the beginning of something more dangerous than we've ever seen? And what happens to Solo Sikoa now, the self-proclaimed heir? What happens to the new bloodline? What happens to those who defied Roman in his absence? Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that Roman Reigns doesn't forget. He doesn't forgive. And when he returns, someone pays the price. They say the most dangerous man is the one who has nothing left to lose. But what about the man who built everything, only to watch it crumble while he was forced to the sidelines? Roman Reigns didn't choose to vanish. His body, his silence, and the weight of betrayal did that for him. He collapsed backstage not as a fallen warrior, but as a man pushed too far. And as he lay behind that curtain, unconscious and vulnerable, the very empire he built began tearing itself apart. No one expected that moment to be the turning point. But it was. And now that he's returning, the man walking through that curtain will not be the same tribal chief. Because he's returning to destroy what rose in his absence, and to reclaim what was stolen. In the weeks leading up to Triple H's announcement, there were signs. Unspoken, but obvious to those who knew where to look. Paul Heyman's voice growing quieter. Seth Rollins walking with a chip on his shoulder. Superstars speaking Reigns' name like it was a ghost story, something too real to deny, too dangerous to summon. Then, there were the sightings. Unconfirmed reports of Roman seen in Florida, training in silence, watching old footage. A private gym booked under a pseudonym. A black SUV with tinted windows pulling into the WWE Performance Center after hours. WWE didn't acknowledge any of it. But today, they didn't need to. Triple H broke the silence. And now the countdown has begun. There is a reason WWE is calling this the most anticipated return in company history. This isn't just another comeback. This is the return of the man who carried the company through a pandemic, unified the titles, and redefined what it meant to be a champion. For over 1,000 days, Roman Reigns stood unshaken. But now, everything has changed. Seth Rollins leads Monday Night Raw. Solo Sikoa rules with unchecked fury on SmackDown. The Usos have splintered beyond recognition. Paul Heyman? No one knows where his loyalty lies anymore. And amid this chaos, Roman Reigns prepares to rise again. But this time, he isn't returning to play politics. He's returning to make an example. According to multiple internal sources, WWE is crafting a narrative unlike anything the company has done before. Roman's return is being designed as a psychological warfare campaign, mind games, manipulation, and moments that will haunt every member of the roster. The story, they say, will not be about redemption. It will be about reckoning. And it begins with silence. The plan is for Roman to appear where no one expects him. Not in an arena. Not in the ring. But behind the scenes. In shadows. Watching. Waiting. Sending a message not with words, but with presence. Locker rooms rattling. Cameras catching glimpses. A look from an unseen figure in a corridor. A shadow over a backstage monitor. And then finally, the return. Triple H has reportedly cleared the path for Roman to enter at the highest level. No build. No warm-up matches. No soft re-entry. Roman Reigns will walk into the main event scene the moment he steps foot back in WWE. And he's not coming back to chase gold, he's coming back to settle debts. Sources claim his first appearance will be unannounced. That his music won't even play. He'll simply emerge when it's most shocking, most devastating. Perhaps during a Bloodline segment. Perhaps during a Seth Rollins promo. Or maybe during a match that ends not with a pinfall, but with a silent stare from the man everyone thought was gone. And what of the Bloodline? That's the question that has every locker room in WWE buzzing with anxiety. The Bloodline was once unified under Roman's ruthless leadership. Now, it's a scattered collection of broken alliances and bruised egos. Solo Sikoa has declared himself the new tribal chief. Jimmy Uso vanished after the Backlash fallout. Jey Uso walked away, disgusted with the infighting. Jacob Fatu aligned with violence. Zilla Fatu is circling. But what happens when the real head of the table walks back in and demands they choose? Sources say Roman will not forgive Solo Sikoa. That the betrayal runs deeper than anything fans have yet seen. This isn't about family anymore. This is about power. Triple H's announcement has already sent ripples through creative. Plans for SummerSlam have reportedly been rewritten. The main event picture is now under tight wraps. There are rumors, only whispers, that Roman's return could set up an intergenerational bloodline war. Roman and Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa and an emerging new force. Others say it's bigger than that. That Roman might be coming back to burn it all down, titles, allegiances, and legacies, just to remind the WWE Universe who made this era possible. And in that plan, no one is safe. Even Seth Rollins, the architect of the Monday Night Messiah era, is reportedly uneasy. He and Roman have always had unfinished business, traced back to the Shield, to betrayals and brutal matches, to moments of silence where punches spoke louder than promos. But now? The stakes are higher. Roman has nothing to lose. Seth has everything to protect. His reign. His brand. His alliance with Paul Heyman. But if Reigns decides to target Raw, to walk into Rollins' house and light a fire under every corner of the red brand, will Seth fight? Or will he fall? Behind the scenes, tension is escalating. Creative meetings have become more secretive. Promos are being edited with precision. Superstars are receiving veiled warnings, stay ready. Because when Roman returns, everything is back on the table. Rivalries. Rewrites. Reckonings. One anonymous WWE writer put it bluntly. Roman's return isn't a storyline. It's a system reset. Everything before becomes irrelevant. Everything after becomes war. And that war will not be without casualties. WWE fans are preparing for a showdown unlike anything seen before. Bloodline versus Bloodline. Loyalty versus vengeance. The old guard versus the new. And in the center of it all, Roman Reigns. A man who was silenced by circumstance. A king without a crown. A ghost with unfinished business. But this return isn't just about fighting enemies. It's about confronting ghosts. The ghost of what the bloodline used to be. The ghost of Jey Uso walking away in pain. The ghost of Solo's betrayal. The ghost of Paul Heyman whispering secrets in the wrong ears. And the ghost of Roman's own legacy, one he now returns to either resurrect or bury for good. Because for Roman Reigns, the comeback isn't just about wrestling. It's about identity. He was the face of WWE. The undisputed champion. The symbol of dominance. And when that was taken from him, by fate, by betrayal, by silence, he didn't just lose a title. He lost everything. Now, as Triple H has confirmed, the tribal chief is ready. And this time, he's not asking for acknowledgement. He's demanding consequences. This is not the return of a hero. It's the rise of a storm. And when Roman Reigns steps back into WWE, no one, no faction, no titleholder, no rival, will escape its wrath. In the echoing halls of WWE's Stamford headquarters, there's an unspoken understanding that lingers whenever a legend prepares to return, an air of anticipation, yes, but also of fear. And with Roman Reigns, that fear isn't abstract. It's real. Tangible. Because everyone remembers the aura he commanded, not just as the undisputed champion, but as a psychological force. Reigns didn't dominate with volume, he did it with silence. A stare. A pause. A low-toned, measured sentence that struck harder than any chair shot. And now, after being out of sight for months, the legend is ready to move again. And in WWE, that means others are about to fall. There are growing whispers that Roman's return will come with new symbolism. Gone will be the golden lays, the embroidered head-of-the-table merch, the championship belts draped across shoulders. In its place, something colder, darker. A stripped-down version of Reigns. One shaped not by legacy, but by survival. After his collapse, Roman was forced to confront something even his enemies never could, his own limits. And it nearly broke him. But it also reforged him. The man returning isn't coming for glory. He's coming for truth. To expose every false king that took advantage of his absence. And to remind the WWE Universe what power really looks like when it returns with a vengeance. Triple H's announcement, while brief, was intentional. This wasn't a Twitter tease or a surprise pop. It was a public declaration from the man in charge of the kingdom: the Emperor is coming home. And that declaration has shaken even the boardroom. According to WWE insiders, discussions have already begun about how Roman's return will impact Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and even WrestleMania 42. One WWE official put it plainly: Roman doesn't just headline events. He defines them. When he returns, the calendar flips. Everything realigns. But behind the scenes, the implications run deeper than storyline booking. There's fear that certain stars will be pushed down the card. That storylines being built for months will be dismantled in a single segment. And that no one, not even the champions, will be safe from being eclipsed. But perhaps the most volatile reaction came from inside the bloodline itself. The moment Triple H's words hit the screen, a ripple of unrest spread across SmackDown's locker room. Solo Sikoa, once the silent enforcer, now self-proclaimed heir to the tribal throne, reportedly slammed his locker door and refused to speak with producers. Jacob Fatu, who had begun aligning himself with Solo in recent weeks, was said to have left the arena without addressing anyone. And Jimmy Uso, the wild-card brother who disappeared after WrestleMania, has suddenly been spotted backstage again, for the first time in over a month. Sources claim he's keeping a low profile. But some believe he's waiting for Roman. Not to oppose him, but to follow him. What does that mean for the rest of the Bloodline Civil War? Everything. Because Roman's return resets the hierarchy. He built the Bloodline from pain and purpose. And now, he's returning to see what's left of it, and whether it's worth saving at all. WWE Creative is reportedly weighing several scenarios. One pitches Roman as a solitary force. Refusing to align with anyone, watching his fractured family destroy each other until he decides who is worth standing beside. Another scenario is even more ruthless. Roman returns, not to unify the bloodline, but to bury it. To destroy the thing he created. To show the world that even family is disposable if loyalty is lost. Paul Heyman, the so-called wise man, is the X-factor in all of it. His betrayal, if that's what it was, has yet to be addressed. But Roman has always been perceptive. He doesn't need a mic to say, "I saw what you did." If Heyman is hoping for forgiveness, he may be disappointed. Because the Roman Reigns that's returning is not the champion looking to be celebrated. He's the wounded architect ready to bring the whole castle down, and see who crawls out from the rubble. But not all the emotion behind this return is rage. There's also something haunting about it. Something deeply personal. Because behind the accolades and main events, Roman Reigns has always been a man defined by struggle. Leukemia. Booed heel turns. Family pressure. Expectation after expectation. And yet, he rose. Again. And again. And again. Until he became the face of WWE. Now, after collapsing backstage and disappearing from the world, he has chosen to rise once more. Not for the cameras. Not for the title. But for himself. And that version of Roman, the one with nothing to prove and nothing left to lose. May be the most dangerous iteration we've ever seen. In the coming weeks, we are told, WWE plans to flood programming with teases. Glitches during matches. Static interruptions during promos. A familiar theme song warping just beneath the audio. Roman's voice muttered low in the background. "I'm not done." Moments that chill the spine, reminding fans that something is coming. Something slow. Inevitable. And final. One Raw writer described it as The Exorcist meets The Godfather. A psychological campaign to unsettle every faction that rose in Roman's absence. Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes. The Judgment Day. All of them. No one knows who he will target first. But everyone knows the message will be the same: you thought I was gone. You were wrong. Outside the ring, the WWE Universe is already divided. Some fans are ecstatic, flooding X and Instagram with theories and support. Others are apprehensive, worried that Roman's return means the newer stars will be shoved aside. That the progress made without him will be erased. But no matter which side you stand on, one thing is clear: you will watch. Because love him or hate him, Roman Reigns is WWE's gravitational force. And when he steps back into the frame, the camera doesn't follow him. It obeys him. And now, as the night draws closer and the lights dim across the performance center, there's only one question echoing in every hallway, in every locker room, in every boardroom meeting and every fan forum: when? Not if. Not how. But when. When will Roman Reigns return to WWE? When will he confront Solo? When will he stare Seth Rollins in the eyes and say, "This is still my house"? When will the first blow land, the first betrayal unfold, the first war begin? Because 1 minute ago, Triple H changed everything. And now, the tribal chief is coming. And this time, he's coming for everyone. But amid the chaos, there is another dimension to Roman Reigns' return, one few have dared to address out loud. What if this truly is his final run? Sources close to WWE management are beginning to whisper that the phrase Triple H used, "This isn't a comeback, it's a final act," wasn't a dramatic flourish. It was a signal. That this return might not be about retaking the throne permanently. It might be about ending his story on his terms. Roman Reigns, the man who has given the better part of 2 decades to this industry, may be coming back not just for vengeance, but for closure. For a legacy that ends the way it was always meant to, not with a whisper, but with a war. Creative insiders are reportedly torn between 2 directions. One path sees Roman reclaiming his dominance, rebuilding a darker, leaner bloodline and asserting a new standard of loyalty, punishing those who failed him and rewarding those who suffered in silence. Another, more poetic scenario has Roman burning everything down, challenging the very existence of factions, titles, and hierarchy. Not just walking out with gold, but tearing it from the hands of both ally and enemy alike before laying it down for good. To say, I ruled, I reigned, I conquered. And now I end it. In this vision, Roman's final feud could be with a name no one expected. Not Solo. Not Rollins. But Jey Uso. The man he tormented. The man who broke away. The man who stood in his shadow longer than anyone else. The Bloodline story started with Roman and Jey. And perhaps it will end that way too. Full circle. One last match. One last betrayal. One last silent nod that speaks louder than 20 years of promos. Behind the curtain, WWE is preparing to capture this saga in a way fans have never seen before. Multiple camera teams have reportedly been assigned to follow Roman's return, not just for weekly segments, but for a possible long-form docu-series that will air during or after his retirement. WWE wants to immortalize this moment. They know the gravity. They know the clock is ticking. And they know the man walking back into the ring isn't just Roman Reigns. He's the final king of an era. And yet, for all the speculation, there is one undeniable truth that has always defined Roman's story: resilience. Whether it was surviving fan rejection during his initial push, or overcoming leukemia not once but twice, or carrying the company during a pandemic when no one else could, Roman never ran. He always came back. Stronger. Sharper. More dangerous. And now, as he prepares to walk through the curtain once again, there's a fire in his eyes that hasn't been seen in years. This isn't about defending the legacy anymore. This is about finishing it. For the superstars in WWE's current landscape, the message is chilling: adjust or be erased. For Seth Rollins, this could mean a title unification match that ends with more than just a 3 count, it ends with a crowning or a dethroning that defines this generation. For Solo Sikoa, it could mean a brutal family reckoning where blood will no longer protect him. For Paul Heyman, it may mean a final judgment from the one man whose trust he swore to protect. And for the fans? It means bearing witness to something that only happens once in a lifetime. Because make no mistake, this isn't just Roman Reigns returning to WWE. This is Roman Reigns taking WWE with him to the edge of the abyss. And what happens next will either cement his place as the greatest champion of the modern era, or shatter the empire he built in one final, glorious collapse. Triple H's announcement was more than news. It was a prophecy. The silence is over. The reckoning has begun. And Roman Reigns is coming home, not to reclaim the head of the table, but to decide who deserves to sit at it when he's gone. The timing of Roman Reigns' return couldn't be more perfect, or more dangerous. With WWE's landscape more volatile than ever, the fuse is lit for a collision of legacies. Cody Rhodes is rising fast, Seth Rollins is fighting to remain the face of Raw, and Solo Sikoa's reign of intimidation continues to spread like wildfire across SmackDown. But now, with Triple H confirming what fans had only dared to hope, all roads, every storyline, every faction, every feud, are bending back toward one name: Roman. And the tension that's been simmering for months is finally reaching its boiling point. Internally, WWE is treating Roman's return not as a single event, but as an unfolding cinematic experience, one that stretches from the moment he reappears to the inevitable conclusion that awaits him, whether that's triumph or tragedy. Creative has reportedly been instructed to write this arc with the gravitas of a Shakespearean epic. Heroes will fall. Villains will rise. And Roman Reigns will stand in the center, unmoved, as the world either bows once more, or dares to revolt. A leaked creative outline suggests the return will span multiple phases: the ghost phase, the warning phase, the reckoning, and finally, the end. In the ghost phase, Roman remains mostly unseen. Only his influence is felt, promos interrupted, backstage interviews cut off, eerie shots of shadows lurking in the distance. Teammates missing. Matches ending in chaos. It's the calm before the destruction. Then, in the warning phase, Roman strikes. Not with matches, but with moments. Unexpected confrontations, stare-downs, sneak attacks, or a chilling promo where the only words are, "You forgot who I am." The reckoning will be where he moves methodically through his enemies. Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes. Even those once considered allies, Jimmy, Jacob, Zilla. Each will be forced to answer a simple question: when I was gone, did you honor me? Or betray me? Each will be judged. And for some, the price of betrayal will be their careers. Creative wants these matches to feel apocalyptic. Not technical showcases, but wars. Blood, chaos, and symbolism. And then, the end. A final chapter that could culminate at WrestleMania 42. A moment where Roman Reigns decides not just the fate of the Bloodline, but the future of WWE itself. The leading candidate for Roman's final opponent is Jey Uso. The man who once bowed before him, then walked away in defiance. Their story is history carved into flesh and memory. Their chemistry is fire. And WWE believes that ending the Tribal Chief saga with the man who started it would bring poetic closure to the greatest faction in modern wrestling history. Others argue Cody Rhodes should finish the story, literally and metaphorically, by taking down Roman on the grandest stage, completing both of their arcs in one decisive match. But a growing fan movement is pushing for something even bigger, a fatal four-way. Roman, Cody, Seth, Jey. For men with everything to gain, and everything to lose. One ring. One throne. But even now, with plans swirling and rumors leaking, one thing remains certain: no one knows what Roman Reigns is truly planning. Not even the people closest to him. He has been silent. Detached. Observing. Rumors say he hasn't even returned Triple H's calls in recent weeks. That he's watching from a distance. Calculating. Waiting. This isn't the Roman who once relied on Heyman to speak or brothers to fight his wars. This Roman is colder. More focused. And more dangerous. Those within WWE's inner circle describe a shift in energy. One top producer said, when he comes back, it's not going to feel like a wrestler returning from leave. It's going to feel like a king returning to a stolen kingdom. And that's exactly what Triple H wanted when he made the announcement. Not just hype. Not just ratings. But a signal. That the era of distractions is over. That the Tribal Chief is back. And that this time, it ends with either eternal glory or total destruction. Social media has exploded with speculation. Hashtag Roman Returns has trended globally for 3 days straight. Fans are analyzing every word from Triple H's announcement, every backstage video, every subtle facial expression from Heyman or Solo. Even the superstars seem caught in the current. Finn Balor tweeted simply, "I warned you." Becky Lynch posted a cryptic image of Roman from WrestleMania 39, captioned, "The storm always circles back." Cody Rhodes, ever the professional, kept it short. "We finish this. When he's ready." But no one is ready. Because Roman Reigns isn't coming back for a pop. He's coming back for a reckoning. He's coming back to collect. Every debt. Every insult. Every ounce of disrespect. And when he does, the question won't be who will face him? It'll be, who will survive him? It was a night like any other, until it wasn't. The lights in the arena dimmed. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, but no one knew why. It wasn't advertised. No match was scheduled. The commentary team had gone silent, their eyes scanning the monitor, confusion in their voices. Then the screen turned black. A slow pulse of static cut through the speakers. The arena's heart stopped. And then, nothing. For 10 seconds, the WWE Universe sat in a rare, deafening silence. And then it happened. A single image flashed across the Titantron. The silhouette of a man. Broad shoulders. Thick hair. The unmistakable outline of a gauntlet-wrapped hand hanging at his side. No music. No pyro. Just the words, "You forgot who I am." The screen cut to black again. And in that instant, the world knew. Roman Reigns was back. The crowd erupted, not in cheers, not in boos, but in a sound that no words could describe. Shock. Awe. Fear. The sound of a moment that would be replayed in WWE packages for decades. The commentary team still didn't speak. Because how could they? For the past 8 months, they'd lived in a world without Roman Reigns. A world of makeshift kings and self-crowned champions. But now? The true monarch was moving again. And no one, not Heyman, not Solo, not Cody, not Rollins, was ready. Backstage, chaos unfolded in real time. Cameras caught Solo Sikoa throwing a steel chair across the locker room. Paul Heyman staring at the screen, hand trembling as he touched the side of his face. Seth Rollins backstage, fists clenched, pacing like a man being hunted. Jey Uso? Nowhere to be found. But perhaps the most chilling reaction came from Cody Rhodes. Standing alone in the corridor, he didn't flinch. He simply whispered under his breath, "Come and finish the story." WWE had promised a reckoning. And now, it was at the door. The following week, the arena sold out in hours. Not for a pay-per-view. Not for a championship match. But for one question, would Roman Reigns appear in the flesh? All week, teasers spread like wildfire. Glitches during SmackDown. Commentators interrupted mid-sentence. And on Raw, a Bloodline promo was cut short by the sound of faint, deliberate footsteps echoing through the arena speakers. No one emerged. No music played. But those footsteps? They were unmistakable. Triple H, for the first time in months, appeared on screen to address the WWE Universe. "This is not a storyline," he said, staring into the camera with no smile. "This is not about merchandise. This is about power. And that power has a name. You already know it." He paused. Roman Reigns is not just coming back. He's already here. By week 3, WWE confirmed the unthinkable: Roman Reigns would appear live on SmackDown. No spoilers. No security detail. No stipulations. Just Roman. Face to face with whoever had the nerve to meet him in the ring. The night arrived like a funeral. Black ropes. No commentary. Just the visual of a steel chair, placed in the center of the ring, under a single spotlight. And then the moment. The bass dropped. His music hit. But not the upbeat, war-ready anthem fans once knew. This was slower. Heavier. A remixed version that sounded like thunder approaching in the distance. The tribal chants remained, but now they felt ancient, like ghosts calling out to be avenged. And there he was. Roman Reigns stepped through the curtain. No smile. No pyro. No entourage. Just the man himself. Leaner. Meaner. Eyes hollow with intent. Wearing all black. A leather jacket zipped up to his neck. No titles. No symbols. Just a presence that made the entire crowd stand up, as if commanded by some invisible force. He walked to the ring in silence. Got in. Sat in the chair. And looked into the camera. For 27 seconds, he said nothing. The camera didn't move. The crowd didn't breathe. It was as if all of WWE had paused, waiting for the world to shift again. Then, he leaned forward and said it. "I'm not here for cheers. I'm not here for redemption. I'm here because you let my house burn." He stood. This isn't a comeback. It's a consequence. Mic drop. The screen went black. In the days that followed, WWE entered a new era. The Reclamation Era. Roman Reigns began appearing unannounced. Watching matches from the rafters. Confronting former allies without warning. Taking out production crew. Turning off the lights mid-show. The entire roster walked on eggshells. No one knew who was next. Until Roman made it clear. He's coming for the titles. But not to win them. To make sure no one else feels worthy to hold them. He wants no belt. He wants blood. And soon, he's naming names. Starting with the ones who claimed his place at the head of the table. It was billed as just another episode of SmackDown. But the energy in the building told a different story. Fans filled the arena hours before bell time, signs in hand, chants already echoing through the corridors. We want Roman. Solo sold out. Bloodline is war. Security was doubled. Cameras were positioned tighter, more deliberate. Producers whispered in headsets with a nervous edge. Because everyone knew this wasn't going to be a wrestling show. This was going to be a reckoning. Roman Reigns hadn't been seen since the night he dropped those chilling words, "I'm not here for redemption. I'm here because you let my house burn." And tonight, for the first time in nearly a year, he would confront the man who lit the match, Solo Sikoa. Backstage, the tension was suffocating. Solo arrived first. Hooded. Surrounded by 2 security guards, not for protection, but to hold him back if he snapped. He didn't speak to anyone. Didn't nod at producers. He walked straight into his private locker room and slammed the door. No cameras were allowed in. But even behind that door, his presence pulsed. The announcers were quiet all night. Michael Cole, known for his encyclopedic commentary, barely spoke above a whisper. "We don't know what's going to happen tonight," he said solemnly. "And to be honest, I don't think anyone wants to find out." Then the lights dropped. The Titantron flickered. The tribal chant returned. But this time it didn't sound like a war cry. It sounded like a funeral procession. Roman Reigns emerged in silence. This time, dressed in a sharp black suit, no tie. His hair tied back. His expression, a mask carved from stone. The crowd erupted. Some cheered, others booed. But most just stood in awe. This wasn't the Roman Reigns they remembered. This wasn't the champion. This was the ghost of an empire coming back to take what was his. He walked to the ring. Microphone in hand. Paused. Let the silence wrap around him like armor. Then, with a voice like gravel dragged across steel, he said it, "Solo." The crowd exploded. "You think because I fell, that this is yours now?" The camera cut backstage. Solo Sikoa stood up. No hesitation. He ripped the hoodie off. His face cold. Focused. He stepped out of the locker room, and the cameras followed him as he made his way down the hallway. Staff moved out of his way like he was a missile set on one target. In the arena, Roman waited. No movement. No blink. Just an apex predator waiting for the next lion to step into his territory. And then Solo appeared. He didn't stop at the stage. He walked right to the ring, climbed inside, and stood face to face with the man he betrayed. The atmosphere was nuclear. You could feel the tension in the way the crowd stopped chanting. The way the cameramen adjusted their grip. The way even the lights seemed to dim, as if the arena itself was holding its breath. Roman didn't move. Solo didn't flinch. Then Roman spoke again. "When I bled for this family, where were you?" Silence. "When I collapsed, when I fell, when I disappeared, you didn't step up. You stepped on me." Solo stepped closer. "I built the bloodline," Roman growled. "I made you." Solo leaned into the mic, his voice low and cold. "You made me weak." Gasps shot through the crowd. Roman's eyes narrowed. Solo wasn't finished. You told us to acknowledge you. I did. Every week. Every fight. Every war. But the second you disappeared, the second you got soft, I stopped bowing. And I started leading. Roman stepped forward, nose to nose now. You didn't lead, Solo, he whispered. You stole. And now I've come to take it back. Then, without warning, Roman dropped the mic and lunged. The brawl exploded. Fists flew like thunder. The crowd erupted. Security stormed the ring. Superstars from the locker room rushed to separate them. Jimmy Uso appeared out of nowhere, pulling Solo away by the arm. But Solo shook him off. Roman broke free, leapt over 3 security guards, cracked Solo with a Superman punch. Solo fell, but he didn't stay down. He got back up. Smiled. And mouthed, "You'll have to kill me." The screen faded to black. No ending. No resolution. Just one final message in bold red letters across the screen. The fallout from that SmackDown confrontation between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa had sent shockwaves through the entire WWE Universe. The image of Roman's Superman punch connecting Solo smiling through the pain, and the words, "You'll have to kill me," still echoed in every replay, every podcast, every locker room whisper. This wasn't just a match being built. This was personal. This was tribal. This was Bloodline versus Bloodline. And so, WWE made it official. The main event of SummerSlam would be Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa in a match simply titled, The Last Pillar. No stipulation. No championship. Just blood. Just retribution. Just the final collapse, or resurrection, of everything Roman had built. But first, came the contract signing. It was set for the final SmackDown before SummerSlam. The arena had been redesigned specifically for it. The ring was draped in black velvet. 2 chairs. 1 table. No security. No commentary. No interruptions. Just 2 names on the screen, Reigns. Sikoa. The crowd was electric. And tense. Solo came out first. Alone. No Jimmy. No Paul Heyman. No Jacob Fatu. He wasn't interested in alliances anymore. He stood in the ring like a man daring fate to strike him first. Then Roman arrived. He didn't walk to the ring. He prowled. Wearing his war coat, hair down, gloves on. Eyes locked forward. A man possessed not by pride, but by betrayal. This wasn't the tribal chief of old. This was a man unhinged by pain. Fueled by a sense of purpose that only comes when everything you built has been burned to the ground. He got in the ring. Sat down. Didn't blink. The crowd sat in silence. The pen sat between them. And for a full minute, no one moved. Finally, Solo spoke. "You think this is about the throne? It's not. I don't want to lead your bloodline. I want to end it." Roman didn't react. Not even a breath. Solo leaned forward. "You were the king too long. You made us bend the knee. You made us fear you. And the second you were gone, we learned we didn't need to fear you. We needed to finish you." Roman picked up the pen. He signed the contract without looking. Pushed it forward. Looked Solo dead in the eyes. Then said, in a voice that dropped the temperature in the arena 10 degrees, "I gave you everything. My name. My blood. My protection. Pause. And now, I'm taking it all back." Solo signed. But before Roman could leave the ring, he pulled the mic back one last time. "And after I beat you, Solo, I'm not just ending the bloodline. I'm ending you." He stood. And for the first time, Solo looked shaken. Because in that moment, the crowd saw it too. Roman Reigns wasn't here for victory. He was here for vengeance. Backstage, cameras captured something even more shocking. Paul Heyman, watching it all unfold alone. He hadn't spoken publicly since Roman's return. Hadn't been seen with either side. But that night, as he stood in front of a monitor, arms crossed, mouth tight, someone approached him from behind. Jimmy Uso. "Wise man," Jimmy whispered. "You better pick a side. Now." Paul didn't answer. But the next moment, said everything. He reached into his pocket. Pulled out the tribal chief lei. And stared at it in silence. Meanwhile, Jey Uso, who had vanished from WWE programming since walking away from the family civil war, posted a cryptic message on Instagram. Just a black and white photo of himself sitting on a beach, with the caption, "Even kings drown in blood." That same night, WWE broke another announcement. At SummerSlam, before Roman vs. Solo, there would be a special segment titled, "The Bloodline Ceremony." No details were revealed. No time slot given. Just one sentence: 2 will fight. 1 will fall. But before that, 1 will choose. The WWE Universe exploded with speculation. Was Jey returning? Would Jimmy turn? Would Heyman finally speak? Or was there another piece of this story, another Fatu, another betrayal, waiting in the wings? SummerSlam arrived like a storm. And inside the stadium, under the glow of lights, thunder of music, and heartbeat of tens of thousands of fans, the ring stood empty. Waiting. Because the moment had come. The bloodline was about to collapse. Or be reborn. And at the center of it all, Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa. And a legacy built on pain, loyalty, and war. A stadium packed to its breathless capacity. The crowd trembling with expectation. Not for gold. Not for titles. But for blood. For family. For legacy. The lights dimmed. The ring, once a symbol of triumph, now looked like a battleground. Everything that had led to this moment, months of betrayal, silence, return, was now funneling into one final war. The bloodline ceremony began first. A traditional Samoan drumbeat played throughout the stadium. Slow. Ancient. Tribal. On the screen, images flashed, grainy footage of Roman Reigns' reign of dominance, of the Usos bowing at his feet, of Solo Sikoa taking his first steps into the family's dark legacy. Then came a figure, hooded, walking through the smoke toward the ring. Jey Uso. The crowd erupted. It was the first time he had appeared in person in nearly 3 months. He stood in the center of the ring, expression unreadable. Dressed in all white. Peaceful, until he raised the mic. "I ain't here to fight," Jey said, eyes scanning the crowd. "I'm here, because I was the first one to fall in line. And now I'm here to say, this line? It ends tonight." He looked into the camera. "I ain't choosing Roman. I ain't choosing Solo. I'm choosing the end." The lights went black. Thunder rumbled through the arena. It was time. Solo Sikoa entered first. Barefoot. No music. Just the stomp of his feet against the ramp. His expression was carved from stone, his fists wrapped in white tape, smudged with red. A warrior ready to destroy. He stood in the ring, unmoving, staring down the entrance ramp like a man waiting for his past to meet him face to face. Then, the drums. The tribal chant began. But it was slower. Heavier. Haunting. Roman Reigns emerged. Wearing a black and red war robe. No gold. No gloves. No titles. Just the man, surrounded by flame and fury. His eyes didn't wander. His fists were clenched. This wasn't Roman the champion. This was Roman the destroyer. The camera zoomed in on Paul Heyman, standing at the edge of the ramp. Hands folded. Sweating. saying nothing. Holding the tribal lei, still unclaimed. The bell rang. War began. The opening moments were silent. Neither man moved. Just a slow circle. Two wolves waiting for the first flicker of weakness. Then Solo struck. A thunderous clothesline. Roman bounced back, Superman punch. Solo ducked, spinebuster. Roman rolled out. Regrouped. But Solo didn't wait. He dove through the ropes, spearing Roman into the announce table. The crowd exploded. Roman struggled to breathe. But his face smiled. Because he knew, Solo was fighting like the man Roman trained him to be. Back in the ring, the brawl became primal. No rest holds. No pacing. Just fury. Roman hit a drive-by. Solo countered with a Samoan drop. Roman hit a second Superman punch. Solo didn't fall. Roman roared. Spear. He covered. The crowd couldn't believe it. Roman grabbed the chair from ringside. Solo rose to his knees. Do it, he shouted. Roman hesitated. Steel on bone. Solo crumbled. Roman dropped the chair. Looked at his hand. Looked at Solo. Emotion filled his face for the first time. But then, lights flickered. A silhouette appeared at the top of the ramp. Walking slowly. Expression blank. Roman looked up. Solo looked over. And in that instant, Paul Heyman slid into the ring. He had the tribal lei. Eyes wide. Hands trembling. And he extended it to Solo. The crowd gasped. Roman froze. Heyman mouthed, "It's time." Solo looked down. He reached for the lei. The lei went flying. Heyman fell backward in shock. Roman stood over Solo, fist shaking. "No one wears that but me," he roared. "I am the Bloodline." He grabbed the lei, ripped it in half, and let the petals scatter across Solo's chest. Then Roman turned to Heyman. Slowly. Deliberately. And reached out. To choke him. Heyman fell to his knees. Pleading. But Roman said nothing. Then Jay slid into the ring. Grabbed Roman's arm. The crowd screamed. Roman turned. Jay whispered, "Stop. You already won." Roman looked at him. At Solo. At Heyman. Then he dropped Heyman. And dropped to his knees. His shoulders shook. Was it grief? Exhaustion? Rage? No one knew. The camera zoomed in. And Roman whispered, "Then it's over." Walked away. Left the ring. No music. No pyro. No celebration. Just Roman Reigns walking up the ramp. Alone. The bloodline behind him, shattered. Scattered. And the lei, torn.